So under the olive tree this week, we have a special edition with us, members of Montreal community, students, and community workers that went to the educational forum, the World Educational Forum that was held in Ramallah last month. Many of them had to go through a lot to get even to Palestine, and now to come back and tell us the stories of what they have witnessed there. How is the situation for educational rights for students, for professors, for teachers, and of course the reality under living under occupation and apartheid. That and more with the roundtable right after this music break.
تكبر تكبر فمهما يكن من جفاك.
So, Stefan, you were the person who organized the mission with Mr. Ramahdi from Alternatives to take a Quebec-based group to the World Education Forum. Can you give us a background? Why did you think this is important for people here in Quebec?
Well, I'll be very brief. Just to start, to say that Israeli occupation severely impacts the right to education in Palestine. Checkpoints, closures, curfews enforced by the military undermine Palestinians' ability to access education from primary school to post-secondary school. So Israeli apartheid across the board, from the Gaza Strip to the West Bank, to the rights of Palestinians living inside of Israel, so Palestinians with Israeli passports, all of these different facets of the Palestinian reality are severely impacted when it comes to Israeli policies on education for Palestinian people. So the idea of this forum was to really highlight the reality of the attack on the right to education in Palestine, and to bring people from around the world to occupied Palestine to address this issue and to express support for the right to education in Palestine.
Bianca Mugnia, you are a member of the 2110 Gender Center Gender Advocacy Center at Concordia University. You are one of the many students and people that work with students that went to the World Education Forum on the 28th and to the 31st of October in Ramallah. What drove you to accept this invitation, and maybe if you can speak also about the reality of trying to just get into Palestine as a person in solidarity?
As someone who works at an organization at Concordia University that does a lot of work around popular education, we understood the importance of education and resistance specifically, and we're drawing parallels as well historically between the erasing of Indigenous history, for instance, in Canada, and the ongoing process in Palestine, where that is happening as well. So the importance of education, the importance of being able to control what it is that you learn as well in school. So that is certainly what drove me to participate in this, together with teachers, other popular educators, students, union leaders. And our experience was one that is common. We arrived in Tel Aviv unable to say that we were going to Palestine, which is a very difficult thing to do. And woman that I was traveling with as part of the group was racially profiled. And as a person who was part of her immediate group, I waited for her. I got through immediately. The other person I was with got through immediately. She had a Muslim last name. She had a passport, a stamp in her passport. She'd been to countries in the Middle East. And she was held for 4 hours, questioned, intimidated. We were also questioned about our relationship to her. We were stunned by the questions we were being asked. They were incredibly invasive. The security agents threatened to open our email addresses, look at our Facebook, took our passports away from us, gave them back, asked unorthodox questions. It was a process of intimidation. Ultimately, our friend was liberated after 4 hours, but this was a terrible introduction to this process of marginalization.
I just want to follow up with Stefan's point, both for Ferouz and Bianca. Stefan's point, talking about sort of, it's a very different reality, you know, understanding apartheid, understanding Israeli apartheid, you know, based upon sort of popular education or through other means, but then actually being there on the ground and sort of experiencing that firsthand. So just really want to follow up with the two of you. I mean, Stefan experienced it in a different way, apartheid at the borders, but for the two of you that were able to make it into occupied Palestine, what were those experiences on the grounds in terms of sort of concretely beginning to see into the functioning of Israeli colonialism, apartheid, and, you know, occupation?
Well, I mean, first thing that since the non-aligned movement, which was very strong in the days of the Soviet bloc when it existed, after that, the solidarity movement with Palestine was mainly focused within organizations with a single focus on Palestine. And then later, very recently, I would say, after the BDS call for the BDS from Palestine, that the movement built up within organizations which don't have a single Palestine focus, like the trade unions, adopting the BDS sanctions against Israel. And this was, I think, a second leap forward, bringing it into the World Social Forum process. So that, as Stefan said, it's a sign of growth. And I think it's growing very fast. And now that we have brought Palestine into the focus of the World Social Forum process, it was proposed in the plenary session on the 31st October in Ramallah that there will be a World Forum in solidarity with Palestine in 2012. So that's one direct outcome of this forum. The Palestinians also proposed to organize an education boat to Gaza. That was another thing which is being discussed. So in this coming World Social Forum, which will be held in February 2011, in a couple of months in Dakar, Senegal, we are doing, the organizing committee is doing one main program in solidarity with Palestine, and Alternatives International will again bring this agenda to hold the thematic forum on World Forum in solidarity with Palestine in 2012. There are many possible venues, one of them being Brazil, or it could be South Africa. The idea is to bring this issue, put that on the table of vibrant social movements as they exist in South America.
Bianca, maybe just to give your experiences in terms of what took place or what you saw in terms of apartheid on the ground.
Yeah, so my first experiences of apartheid were actually my first day. We exited Ramallah, exited out of the West Bank into Jerusalem, and the Kalandia checkpoint was shocking to us. The way in which people were being treated, Palestinians, pushed, shoved, the roadblocks, the parapets, the security machine guns, was very frightening experience. Talking to people, Palestinians on the bus who had, for whom it had taken weeks, months sometimes to get passes to be able to go into occupied Palestinian land, Israel, to be able to see sick family members and what have you. So crossing over to witness Israeli apartheid in Israel proper, Israel, Palestinian citizens of Israel. My first experience was in Haifa, We went to a group called Baladna, who talked to us about political prisoners in Palestine. The situation for Palestinian citizens is one of apartheid as well in Israel, which is very important in terms of political prisoners. Talked a lot about Amir Mekul, who has been unjustly prosecuted by the government of Israel with little to no evidence against him, accusing him of being a spy. Activists talked about their friends going missing as well, who were bringing the plight of Palestinian citizens of Israel to the international stage. We went to a village in the Negev desert called Al-Arkib. We were greeted by villagers, Bedouin villagers in this village, who showed us the destruction of their land, of their homes. Villagers showed us 40 houses that had been razed to the ground by the Israeli army. This is their land. It's been their land for hundreds of years. They told us that they were not nomadic, and that they had been living there for a very long time, and that they would not leave. At that point, their homes had been razed 6 times. We were shown pictures of their former houses, and the opening ceremony for us took place under a tin roof next to a cemetery, which was the only structure that had not been razed.
Many resources for people to get into action after listening and hearing the realities of Palestinians on their daily lives, but also now we heard what they are facing when they are trying to get their education. Hopefully more students and professors will pick up this call from our distinguished guests here. Thank you all for being with us here. And until we meet under the olive tree next week, I bid you all a free Palestine.